wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. I want to welcome everybody to another very special and informative edition of Trends in the Housing Market. Thank you, everybody, for being on. And it's you guys that make the show what it is. I'm in a really good spirited mood. We got another very important guest coming on the show today and discussing basically quite a few things, and that's for you guys that don't know, it's Uneducated Economist. Will be on the show on the second hour. Right now he's at a big party, so he'll be home in a bit, and we'll have him on the show, Uneducated Economist. I want to thank everybody out there that's been talking, a lot of dedicated subscribers that have been talking to other channels saying, hey, why don't you go on this guy has a decent show, maybe you should consider going on. I want to thank everyone that's been doing that, that's been reaching out to channels, reaching out to people. I appreciate that. Really means a lot to me. And also, lots going on. And so what's happened with the YouTube channel, guys, this YouTube channel, the Mike Martins channel, it's been on a stagnant pattern. I lose more subscribers than I gain, and I just wanted to explain this. I wanted to explain to you this to you guys on Mike in the Night, but I actually wanted to do it now because it's fresh. So, the channel isn't going to go anywhere ever. I could live to be 100, and I'll probably be at the same subscription. What's been happening is, I've gotten a lot of channels taken down, a lot of videos taken down. I'm sorry, last night. And I had 2 more videos taken down this morning. All about housing affordability. And I've gotten it's a strike, but I could still stream. It's really weird. They can't really strike me down, but they can't. They can't really stop me because I'm not breaking any of the YouTube laws, so to say. But let's just say they don't like me. So it's dead. It's pretty much a dead channel. Growth is not going to happen. And I'm still going to continue doing the live shows, doing this and doing that. And I'm happy to do that with you guys because seeing that we have such a very loyal presence here on the channel. And that means a lot to me that we have a lot of loyalty here. But unfortunately, the channel isn't going anywhere. So what's happening is there's this deduction program that YouTube started about 2.5 years ago. So if I was to gain 100 subscribers today, what would happen is I'd lose 90 subscribers that subscribed to me way back in the day. I would lose those and I'd keep 10. So it's really tough gaining any traction. I started gaining traction about 2.5 years ago when Mike in the Night was hot. Then they striked me down for more housing affordability videos and housing videos for Australia. And that really struck my channel down hard. I got lots of red markings on my about and in my channel itself under the analytics where basically lots of problems basically with videos that they just don't want up, and there's nothing, and there's no guidelines, there's no nothing. So I just wanted to kind of bring this out at the beginning of the show to let you know I'm still going to continue doing these live streams, still continue talking to you guys. I really like hanging out with you guys. As for growth, it doesn't matter. You could get one of the biggest, PewDiePie, to make a video about my whole channel, and the channel will still not go anywhere because of this deduction program that they have me on. It's almost like a punishment for, I guess, talking about the Australian housing market. I'm not sure why. So anyways, guys, thanks for coming on. We got our comments rolling out, and it is Trends in the Housing Market. I think we're on episode 200, and I don't even know, man. 200 and something. I'll take a look in a second here. Let's do a channel plug here real quick. Let's go here. Guys, Uneducated Economist, let's go to article scan, please. We'll be on the show very soon. I remember when this guy had 2,000 subscribers. He's at 42,600 subscribers. That is incredible. Also, and we'll have him on the show. He's going to unpack a few of these videos. I've gotten a few questions ready for him. Also, I'm going to open the floor to allow you guys to ask him any questions you may have, okay? There's my channel, guys. Don't forget to set your reminders, guys, for Maneko64. On Mike in the Night, we're going to be discussing the economic future. So we got Maneko64 on Mike in the Night. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to my Facebook channel. So I started my Facebook channel, or my Facebook page, when I started my YouTube channel, and I have 115,000 people that like my Facebook page. Okay? And Facebook is just like this. YouTube is like this, and Facebook is like this. And it's hard to get people to like your channel on, or to like your Facebook page, because no one's on Facebook anymore. Everyone's like ditching Facebook. Okay, here we go. Paste. There's my Facebook. Oh, I'll give you the link to Uneducated Economist. There's my Instagram. Send me show tips here, guys. I love the show tips everyone's been sending me. There's the show tips right there. And if you want to buy something on Teespring store, go ahead and do that. And here's the link for Uneducated Economist. In case you haven't subscribed to this channel, let's get him to 43,000 subscribers by tomorrow. There's enough people going to be watching this tonight to get him up there. And he's on fire, man. He's on fire. Okay, so let's go over here. So that's that. Now, let's go over a couple of pressing stories that we have to kind of cover before we get our Facebook. Someone just commented Facebook. I'm sorry. To get our guest on here. Yeah. Brother John saying Facebook only good for local news and business. The thing with Facebook is it never went down. Like whenever I kind of plug my Facebook page, it always grows incrementally at almost 120,000. My YouTube doesn't go anywhere. So if you're just joining us, YouTube, I found out, is doing this deduction program on my channel. I got a lot of red marks on my channel. They can't really strike me down because I haven't broken any of their laws or their guidelines. I have not. It's this Australian housing problem that we've been discussing on the channel for about 4 or 5 years now. It's been a huge issue for my channel. They've taken down several hundred videos already, and last night they took, like, over the years, and last night they took down 2 more trends in the housing market: affordability, just affordability, and where the home lies, or whatever. Those videos were taken down. So they keep constantly removing videos from my channel, saying that they don't meet community guidelines. So, okay. So we got Andrew Dika saying, trends in the housing market, visit Arizona and you'll see the madness that's happening here. Andre, go ahead and cover it for us. Come on, Skype, make videos, put it on Skype. I'll put it on the channel, man. This channel's dirty already. This is a dead channel. You put whatever you want and I'll put it over here and show you guys what's going on. All right. Trends in the housing market. All right, let's get to some news, guys, before we get our first guest on. I'm very excited to have him on. Let's get into a bit of news now. Now, listen to these articles in the row, in the air, in how they're laid out here. Listen to this. Look at this. Canadian population growth slows to the lowest rate in years. Right now, Canada's population growth is so bad that they have to bring in more and more people from other countries to fill our population gap. This is a huge issue that Canada's been dealing with for many years. It's too expensive to have a family nowadays. Because people want to eat, right? It's very hard to feed a family, but right now, Canada's population, listen to this, guys, listen to this. Canada's robust population growth has been grinding to a halt during the pandemic. Now, again, how did we keep it going? We kept it going because Canada was bringing in 500,000 Chinese per year with wealthy, deep pockets to offset our, and if you think I'm lying, I'll just bring that up right now. This is news. Look. So you guys know I'm not making this stuff up because, here it is from CBC, and here it is. And I brought this up on the show many times. Canada wants more Chinese workers, students, and tourists, but the locals don't have jobs, and they're bringing in 500,000 per year. And from what I've heard through the grapevine, through other subsidiaries that have told me, they're actually bringing in 850,000 per year are coming in. And that is very dangerous, guys. Very, very dangerous. So Canada's now population is ceasing to a halt because they're not bringing in wealthy investors anymore to buy out our homes. That's why construction was mandatory during COVID, because then what are the investors going to buy? If there's nothing to buy, then Canada's screwed. And I'm going to tie it into the next article, why Canada's screwed, and Australia and New Zealand and the UK and Western United States and New York. I'll tell you why. So, Brother John saying it's too cold in Canada. No, it's actually not that bad. Today was like 23 centigrade. It was a beautiful day today. Okay, Canada's population robust growth has been grinding to a halt during they're saying it's during the pandemic. Quarterly population estimates for Q3 2020 shows there is still a lot of growth. However, it's a lot less robust than last year and barely moved in a most recent quarter. In fact, the most recent quarter represented less than a tenth of annual growth. And from what I've heard, a lot of the growth that we did have in these last 2 quarters were from birth tourism. Yes, from people having babies in Canada so they could stay in Canada. Canada's population slowed to a multi-year for the rate of growth, but still made substantial gains. StatsCan estimates the population reached 38.01 million in Q3 2020, up 25,000.0007 people from the previous quarter compared to last year. This works out to an increase to 411,854. That's 1.10% people. Extremely slow quarter, but that gives an idea of how quick the population was growing before the pandemic. So here it is, 12-month percentage change in populations across Canada. So you got Quebec City, just before there, you see how big it was there. Then you got British Columbia, right? But look at here, British Columbia. Holy crap. And then you got Ontario. And then you got Canada as a whole. So the population is going down. Ontario represents the largest chunk of growth in the quarter and grew in line with the national rates. The population estimated increased by 10,517 people in Q3 2020, at 189,000, 1.3% from last year. The annual rate is the lowest since 2016, largely due to the most recent quarter. So that's that right there, guys. Now, locals, so how are these populations? So we have a huge shifting population pattern here in Canada where I'm one of those. I left the big city because I'm not paying $2 million for a tear-down bungalow that has a structure life of 3 days, where I buy it in 3 days, the place falls to the ground. So that's not going to fly. So I'm one of these statistics where of the shifting population pattern, right? So this is a very interesting one, and this is showing how Australia put up an article 2 months ago, without foreign investing, Australian housing market is doomed. But hold on a second. Hold on. You're telling me nobody lives in Australia that wants to own a home? Yeah, there is. I could bet you 100 to 1. There's more than 2 million people on the sidelines in Australia waiting to buy property. I bet you 100 to 1. All right. All right, comments are flying here. Let's see what's going on in the comments. Someone's birthday in the, All right, let's move on, guys. All right, real quick. Okay, so now this ties into this. Canadian mortgage debt passes 80% of GDP for the first time. Canadian mortgage debt passes 80% of GDP for the first time. I don't know if you guys understand, or I know you guys understand, but I don't think a majority of the people watching this know what's going on. I'm talking about the people like 2 blocks from here. Do they understand how underpinned our economies are to housing and real estate? Do they get this? Daniel O'Brien is, where is Uneducated Economist? Coming on in the second hour. He'll be here soon. Boom Bubble Bust Repeat will definitely be coming back on the show. Hopefully I could arrange him to come. So we got Owen in the house. Owen, what's up, buddy? Oh yeah, I love our community. It's like we have a family right here. I love it. Okay, Canadian mortgage debt passed 80 points. I'm going to keep saying that over and over again. How do you guys say? I can say that over. Maybe I should say it 300 times. Canadians love mortgage debt. Most households consider low risk. However, okay, that's enough. However, they might love it a little too much. Mortgage debt has seen an astronomical growth over the past couple of decades. This is often attributed to large economic growth. However, the mortgage debt to GDP ratio shows that might be a fib. Canadian mortgage debt has been growing nearly twice the pace of GDP, and now has grown over 80% the size. Okay, guys, let me explain to you. Let me put on full screen here so I can explain to you guys this. The ergonomics behind why they want to bring in more people into the country. I'm going to explain to you guys. Pay attention, okay? You'll probably hear this on other channels very soon. They bring in more people. They open the borders so this way they could have more consumption. The more consumption, our leaders, not our economic people, not our economists and people looking at economies and people understanding the algorithms. No. Our leaders think if we bring in more people, that creates more consumption. We create more consumption. 50% should 50% of 40% of a healthy GDP should be consumption. 40%, right? And 60% should be production, right? Now the problem is, they think the more consumption we could have, like 70, 80% consumption, then the economy is going to go up with it because we're consuming. But they're forgetting something. You can't build an economy off consumption. You need to build an economy off of production. Once the production goes up, interest rates go up, and the country becomes stronger, firmer, and it becomes more attractive for investing to come in and actually investing in businesses and stop consuming our real estate. So when people overseas invest in Canada, well, they consume. They're not producing, they're consuming our real estate. So the more consumption that happens to us, the middle class disappears, the upper middle class falls into the lower class, and the rich are going to get a lot richer, and by them thinking that the more production we have, the more consumption, the more people that come in, the more that consume, the more money the country's going to make. That's a big lie. It does not work. That is actually like a socialist idea of a very dangerous socialist idea. I believe wholeheartedly that it's all about production. It's all about producing. And everybody out there wants to have some sort of production in them. So wants to be known, or wants to be out there for something, wants to be a productive member of society. You know what I'm trying to say, right, guys? So here we go. All right. Oh, comments are going nuts tonight. We're almost at 90 people. And messages are going pretty fast. Thank you guys for coming on. So I hope you guys understand. It's not about consumption. It's not about building consumption. It's about extending production. And that's the mistake a lot of our leaders have been making. All right, let's go to article scan here. All right. So what's happening? Well, there it is. Canadian mortgage debt to GDP over a better dwelling. This is what they got. Guys, this is so dangerous, you have no idea. Look at this. So what? Our entire gross domestic product is going to become housing? Really? Are you out of your tree? 50 years ago, you told that to people, to be like, 50 years ago, be like, what are you talking about? Anyone could buy a house. All you have to do is just get a job, make working minimum wage. You could packing groceries. You could buy a house. But again, consumption has taken over. Consumption has taken away the ability for the locals to consume to be able to produce, right? I don't know if that makes sense. If you don't have a house that you could consume and live in, well, you're in trouble, because then the middle class, we don't have a middle class anymore. We have no economy. Axel saying a guy starts a casino to launder $500 million in 5 years or something. Yeah, that's very believable. Yep. Heart Sweet Aquarius, Heart Sweet is saying Aquarius people will be out of work very fast the way they are pushing this testing. So there it is right here. You got that on the back burner, but then you got this happening. Mortgage growth grew 2 times faster than GDP in the past 20 years. Toronto is the only North American city deemed on the verge of a housing bubble. We've been talking about this housing bubble in Toronto since the tail end of 2016, early 2017, when Vancouver put the foreign buyers tax on, and everybody ran to Toronto and blew up the prices there in a matter of 3 years. Prices went 4 years, 3 to 4 years, it just went absolutely nuts. So it's severely at risk for blowing up, and that's what's happening. Housing bubble happens when there is a high demand and big investor spending amid limited supply. There you go, big investor spending. They're not making this up. It's not when Canadians buy a home. No, it's big investor spending. A limited supply creating, quickly accelerating an untamable prices that do not match where local incomes rent sit. That's it right there, right here. I'll say it again. A housing bubble happens when there is high demand and big investor spending amid limited supply, creating quick, accelerating, and untamable prices that do not match where local income rents sit. So locals out of the picture. The locals no longer. And that's why when I had Martin North on the show last week, I asked him, Mr. North, has foreign investing in your country, in Australia, created such a big enough crater that even if the Australian proper defaults on their mortgages, there's enough outside money in there already, so it's not going to make a difference. So, unfortunately, he said that's not happening, right? And he's there, right? Here, it's a completely different story, right? The average price for a detached home in Toronto proper hit a staggering $1.5 million last month, with absolutely unlivable places getting listed for nearly $900,000 and shacks selling for $1.8 million. Guys, watching this in Mexico, this $1.8 million, this is not pesos. Por la gente que está a ver esta transmisión en México, yo quiero decirte, es muy importante que no es pesos. Esto es dólares canadienses. So I have to say that in Spanish in case someone from Mexico is watching this and they see this house here sell for $1.8 million. They're probably going to wonder, the chicken wire on the windows, $1.8 million. They're probably thinking 1.8 million pesos. 1.8 million pesos, guys, is like 88,000 Canadian dollars. That's a lot of money for that. 88,000 Canadian dollars is a lot of money for that. What does it sell for? Sells for 800,000 over asking SA. 800,000 over asking SA. Guys, I need you guys to go right now, that's watching this right now, share this video live. Scroll down, share now, live. Let's get a lot of people on here because we're going to have Uneducated Economist on the second hour. So we got Big Rob New Zealand saying this is a bargain, $1.8 million. Wow, maybe I should just announce this in Portuguese. Olá, tudo bem? Toda a gente que está a ver esta transmissão? Essa casa vende por $1.8 milhão canadianos. Dólares canadenses. 1.3 milhão americanos. Yeah, I should just say it in Portuguese. I just say this in 50 languages. No one's going to believe that this thing sold for $1.8 million, but it's only in Canada. Probably New York, Seattle, Oregon, Los Angeles. Places that are open for business. Wow. This two bedroom, 1 bath, tiny house, which is really more of a shed, was listed for a cool $1 million and sold 808,000 more. 120 foot. I don't know if I'm severely delusional. I don't know what the heck is going on here. I don't know if I need to take some special medication to make so this makes sense to me, because this doesn't make any sense to me. This is not. I don't even know if there's a language that could explain this. Like, maybe people are looking at me saying, Mike, you're jealous because you can't buy that for $1.8 million or something. I don't know. I don't get it. This is not 1.8 million even 1.8 million pesos. That's so much money. I don't know. I'm going to leave that up there so we could look at this every couple of hours. Housing crisis under New Zealand, election scanner as Kiwis miss out on dream. So if you guys remember the last election in New Zealand, Jacinta Ardern, the prime minister there, was building a Kiwi Build project, and she was going to work towards making affordable housing, and they were going to have a Kiwi Build project. Phil Tyford was the housing minister at the time. 100,000 homes they were going to build in the 4-year time she was there. They built 18 homes, and nothing happened after that. So I told the people of New Zealand, I even spoke to someone on the Chamber of Commerce there in Christchurch, and I told them, look, if you want to make this work, it's going to work by creating better paying jobs, and so people could create, stop all the red tape and all the zoning requirements for whatever, and all the garbage bureaucracy. Let people run their businesses, let them pay their taxes, and let them live freely. Stop with all this garbage. So that's what's been happening, and New Zealand needs to create better paying jobs so that this way the governments don't need to spend more on, New Zealand. So what the governments need to do is leave the private sector alone and let people work and do their job. Leave them alone. A lot of people are sick and tired of government being on every angle, on every corner, in your bread, in your toast, in your music, at your halftime show in the NFL. Sick and tired of government intervention like this. It's getting out of... It sounds like a Mike in the Night tonight, but it's not. Guys, please share this video right now. Please, please, please share this video right now. Live, share it live. Let's get people on the channel. All right, so there it is. So that's what's happening there. These cities are at risk of housing bubble at home prices inflate worldwide. Okay, what cities are they? They're not even showing them here. Madrid, San Francisco, Dubai, United Arab Emirates, Hong Kong. What else? Okay. Cities not at risk of a bubble, but considered overvalued include Vancouver, London, Tokyo, Los Angeles, Stockholm, Geneva, San Francisco, Tel Aviv, Israel, Sydney, Moscow, and Nueva York, New York. Home values have been supported throughout the pandemic by government stimulus, mortgage bailouts, and low interest rates. UBS, Universal Basic, UBS noted that it considers price gains under these circumstances unsustainable. Yes. So again, everything's being blamed on COVID. And elderly homeless Americans next housing crisis. I could see that happening. Housing crisis now, housing chaos, emergency housing provider. And that's from today's date. So again, insurances are starting to spike, and it's becoming harder and harder for people, for landlords to keep it in check, because landlords have to raise the price if their insurance goes up, right? From the Excalibur, youth housing crisis. Students have been on one of the hardest hits demographics in regards to the labor market as the fall of semester begins. Students losing their jobs may be the biggest factor in potential housing market crash. Could it be a factor? What do you think, guys? According to Anthony, York Executive Director, demands for both undergraduate residents and the York apartments decline this fall. This decline can be credited to the switch to mainly online course delivery, as well as the various travel restrictions that remain in place. So could it be? Yes. There's in the city west of me here in Victoria, there's a university there, and a lot of the entrepreneurs living there had a really tough time this season because a lot of the students that came in from China that usually rent for $3,000-$4,000 a month didn't come in. So this big entrepreneurship that they started, they're like, I'm going to buy a house and rent it out to foreign students. And that's not working out right now for them. So we got we got Ben Savage in the house. We got the Raven in the house. We got Crazy Shredder in the house. Axel Rose. We got the comments moving nicely. We got Anthony Ruvalacaba, my man, in the house. I think he just got home from the gym. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting Mike in the Night, guys. We're going to be talking about economic havoc across the globe. So first hour, I think we're going to have, what's his name? Supreme Cannon on. Second hour, we're going to have Mario on from Meneco 64. Got some pretty good questions lined up for him. And then we're going to have... Maybe if the Raven has some time or something to close off the show, we'll find out who, or Layla or somebody to come on for the third hour. So anyways, availability of affordable housing needs to be addressed, says Multicultural Group. Again, with COVID, again, CBC Canada. So it has to do with common problem. Immigration Partnership says the problem is becoming all too common for newcomer families. What do they want? Like the rent? I think the rent. I don't think they're talking about the price of rent. Hold on. But he said if the province is expecting 75,000 immigrants over the next decade to come here, when housing needs to be addressed for those families, this is for New Brunswick only. So there's about 75,000 new families moving to New Brunswick, and New Brunswick workers who are struggling with affordability right now. So what's happening is they never take care of the people that are here. They're always trying to bring in fresh votes off the boat, right? And the fresh votes is what keeps a lot of these parties in play, right? All right, let's pause this here. Okay, report says... report says pandemic could lead to affordable housing crisis in Memphis. So we're seeing right here, we're losing supply from the bottom of the market, meaning that we have units that are available and affordable to families that earn 30% or less of the median income. That number of units is reducing. So they're seeing right now affordable units getting gobbled up in Memphis, Tennessee. New Zealand election 2020. Housing crisis, now chaos, emergency provider. Again, guys, it's not about affordable housing. It's about better paying jobs, and better paying jobs gets the governments. Like if New Zealand could create some sort of an incentive to bring in entrepreneurs and small businesses where, let's say, you don't pay tax for 5 years, or we'll pay your rent for 5 years. I'd rather have the New Zealand government come out and say, or the Canadian government come out and say, hey, big company, come over here. You don't have to pay us tax for 5 years, and we'll pay your rent for 10 years. But as long as you pay your workers above average wage, maybe $6 above minimum wage, and then they hire 2,600 people. That's fantastic. Then they could afford the payroll, then they could afford this, and they don't have to pay tax for X amount of years. That's what Brazil's been doing to get contracts from Russia, to get contracts from Angola, Portugal, from all over the world. Brazil's been doing that, right? Argentina, I think, has been giving incentives for no tax and no rent for 10 years if you could employ more than 1,000 employees, right? So Canada and New Zealand and Australia need to start doing this and stop with the red tape and all the bureaucracy for private sector business. The public sector won't sustain itself. The only way to fix this problem is to create more private sector jobs. Nobody cares about public servants. All right, just watching the... So again, back to article scan here. Emergency provider. The country has surpassed a crisis that has now reached housing chaos, according to one emergency housing provider. So there it is. New Zealand is it's turning into a nation of renters, and I've inquired through the Freedom of Information Act, through one of the Chamber of Commerce there in New Zealand, to ask about empty homes, to ask about they just basically had no information for me, unfortunately. It was a week and a half ago. They can't give me anything. I just want to know how many empty homes, how many of them are actually owned by New Zealanders and corporate numbers. Like, who is... They just basically told me to get lost, right? So I said, oh, it's good information for my show. Maybe I could be, you know, one of the guys that come up with this great story about the empty homes in New Zealand. And yeah. So the public housing register more than tripled from 5,844 in September 2017 to 19,483 in July 2020. Yeah. It's going beyond crisis level to chaos crisis in New Zealand. Weak demand, now the bane of once storming Aussie housing market. Again, weak demand. Australian housing market activity won't recover from the recent slowdown for a year of dwindling household incomes and soaring unemployment hammered demand, causing home prices to fall this year. Now in its first recession in 3 decades. They're finally admitting Australia's in a recession. Hallelujah. Yeah, come on, let's do some clapping and cheering. Australia's economy is expected to recover slowly, even though the spread of COVID is largely under control and most businesses have reopened. Still, policymakers expect unemployment to rise about 10% from 6.8% in August. So there it is, guys. Like they're gonna Australia's in the perfect storm now. And what the hell is this? I'm not paying for this. And young Australians and the property market less like the castle and more like Mad Max hellscape. So again, how far west can you go from Sydney? So again, people are commuting from a million miles away to get into work, and people are paying $800,000 as further away as you could be from the major city. Look at that, all sold. Look at that. Yeah. Housing demand take dramatic hit as Australia's net migration slump. Again, demand for housing could fall by 232,000 dwellings over the next 3 years due to international border closures and decline in population growth. Again, back to Canadian. Canada's facing the same problem, and housing is going to slump because we're not bringing in 500,000 Chinese per year. Canada wants more Chinese students and workers, and 500,000 per year. And I say again, it's you connect the dots. It's the same thing right across the Commonwealth. Right across the Commonwealth, it's the same issues they're having, and it's no surprise. It is what it is. Okay, let's see if we can get a quick caller in before we. Oh, we got a lot of time actually. Guys, share this video live. I've been looking at the Edmonton real estate. Wanted to know if anyone had any insight. Edmonton real estate is in a slump right now. It is going down. It's been going down the last, I think, 13 quarters. It's been in a slight decline. I got a little uptick in November of last year, and then COVID hit, and then it went just right back down. Calgary isn't doing too well either. I suspect that Calgary would have been a better market. It's further south. It's a little bit more warmer than Edmonton, but unfortunately they have many issues right now in Calgary, especially with the if you go there to work from home and you don't have to deal with, then maybe you could work something out in those cities, in those bigger cities, but it's really tough in Alberta. Lots of Alberta plates here in BC. I see a lot of vehicles from Alberta here. Anthony, overall immigration to Canada is very low. Yeah. And again, it ties into the article that Canada's birth rate is the lowest it's ever been on the article here. So you guys know I'm not making this stuff up if you're just joining us. Canada's birth rate, it's the lowest it's been, I don't know, since, what does it say, Canada's population growth shows the lowest rate in years. It's going back. Yeah, it's going back. 89? Yeah, because 93 is when they cut off immigration to Europe, where Canada basically is like, no more Europeans. And they've been slowly deporting Hungarians. I know they've been deporting Portuguese. They deported thousands of families that have kids here, born and raised in Canada. Tens of thousands of families have been booted out of Canada. And Hungarians and Croatians, apparently. I didn't even know this. But somebody sent me an article saying, well, look what's happening to Hungarians and Croatians, Mike. Canada deported thousands of them back in the 2005, 6, 7 era. Holy crap. I thought it was 41,000 Portuguese families deported from Ontario. Man, you got Hungarians and Croatians being deported like hand over fist. I thought it was just they hated the Portuguese, but there was more European countries that were basically shown the door from Canada. Wow. Anyways, okay, let's see if we can get a caller in here, please. Let's see who we can get before we get Uneducated Economist on. Let's see who's available. I'm just going through my stuff here. Let me call Layla. I just want to see how she's doing. She sends me articles all week long. She's not picking up. She's probably busy, so I see her in the comments, but she could be doing something right now. All right, let's see who else we got here. Let me see who we can get on. Housing. Ooh, Boom Bubble Bust Repeat, but he doesn't have his Skype on. I'm not sure if he's on. D Dunk is saying lots of Jamaicans deported too. Really? I didn't know. I didn't even know. I thought. I honestly thought, I'm going to be really frank with you, I thought it was just the Portuguese that were mass deported in 2006, 7, 8, and 9. And then I was getting articles that now from people like Hungarians, Croatians, and now people in the comments are saying Jamaicans were mass deported too. Call Raven Mike. I don't think he's working. I think he's off today, actually. I think the Raven's off today. Yes, I think he's off. I don't think he's working today. I got the Raven schedule in my back pocket. No answer. Nobody. There's nobody. No big deal, guys. It's okay, man. We got a lot of news stories and stuff that we could cover. It's not a big deal. Everybody's offline right now. No big deal. Let me see who else we got here. Yeah, guys, I want to let you know I'm going to try and get... I talked to Steve Saretsky. He wants to come on my Trends in the Housing Market. I'm trying to get him on next Wednesday's show on the 7th of October. So before I get full confirmation from him, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get confirmation from him that he's going to come on, and then I'll create a thimble of him coming on the show. It'd be nice to get on Steve Saretsky, too, to find his housing informative side of things, you know what I'm saying? Mike Martins or anyone else, do you know a site that can tell you how much your mortgage payments go down when you pay extra towards your principal? Thanks. Okay, there's a lot of mortgage calculators that are out there. Type in mortgage calculator with deduction. You'll find it. I found so many of them through different, even your bank might even have one on your bank. It might even show you a mortgage calculator with deductions, especially if you want to make extra payments to bring down your principal. You could do that. You could actually plan out how fast you want to pay down a house. You could actually plan, it actually tells you your total debt service ratio. We've actually had them on the show where we're actually doing live math on the show where we're doing and calculating TDS and CGS and gray areas and looking at what people need, how much people need to make to afford. But you know what? I got an idea and a half, I say. Watch this. Article scan now. Oh yeah, right here. This house sold for $800,000 over asking for $1.8 million. I think it's 125 square feet. No, how big is it? 20 feet by 120 feet foot lot. So there it is right there. Now, let's find out how much money you need to make to actually afford to buy this. Do we have enough time to do this before? Yeah, we do. So let's type in. So what you're going to do is you're going to find in mortgage calculator. Hope it tells us the TDS here. 3. Okay, let's find out mortgage free. No, free mortgage calculator. See, RBC has one. Mortgage calculator Canada. Mortgage calculator Canada. Let me see if I could find one that's right here. Mortgage calculator. I think it's .net. Here it is. So this allows you to. I think you could put extra payments on this. So okay, home price. Okay, so let's pretend we're buying this house for $1.8 million. Okay. All right. A lot of people say, "Oh, they buy these homes so they could put multiple dwellings on there." You can't put nothing on 120 by 20 square feet. You can't even put a lawnmower in there. All right? So, let's just say $1.8 million. So, let's say you got a rich uncle gives you 500 large. So, you got to finance 1.1. I don't know if okay, so you have to put 1,100,000. So that's 3. It's 3. Okay, right there. Okay, so let's put 1.8 million. 1,800,000. And 1, 2, 3. Calculate. You put 20% down, let's say. 30-year term. And what's your amortization here? Is it a 5-year am? Okay, so there it is right there. Insurance rate. Okay, so this is what you're paying monthly. $6,133.40 per month. Now, I have this rough estimate when I calculate average monthly wages thingies. What I do is I take this monthly payment and I multiply it usually by 1.3 or 1.6, depending on the value of the home. And that could give me a roughly, with property tax, roughly all the other stuff you need to pay. So home insurance is here, property tax, HOA fee, other costs. So let's multiply 6,000. So let's get our trusty calculator out here. Okay. So let's do this because I can't do this like on my own. So 6,133.40. So let's multiply that by, let's say, 1.5. And that 1.5 should be able to cover your food, your gas, car insurance, all that other stuff, transit, whatever you pay for. So you need to make $9,201 per month. That's going to pay off your monthly payments of $6,133, and that's going to leave you with six. So that's going to six. Yeah, that's going to leave you with food for the month. That's going to leave you with gas, car insurance, car payment, and all the other stuff you might have. $9,200. 1.5 maybe is a little steep. Maybe 1.4 or 1.3 should give you a round number, provided you eat cardboard once a week. But that's what you need to make, right? And what do you get? Well, let's show them what you get. It's like, all right, what do you get for that $1.8 million? Well, you get this tiny house in Toronto that was listed for $1 million, and it sold $800,000 over asking. This spacious 25 feet by 100-foot home with unkept grass and its own gas meter and needs a roof, and it probably needs a complete redo, is for sale. I think he's asking where this is in the city of Toronto. And you know what's sad about this, guys? That Canada has very limited cities for Canadians to live in. Canadians are having a really tough time at this right now. So are Australians. Australians are very limited with the amount of land they can live on, right? And getting fresh water, the whole 9 yards. Canada's in a tough position here. It's got a lot of land. We don't have the cities. We don't have the infrastructure. Like I said in many shows, Texas has more major cities than all of Canada and Australia and probably New Zealand put together. Just the state of Texas. So if you don't like one place, you move to another. I mean, you could get around. You could find affordability. I could find a house like this in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm not kidding you. For like 15 grand. $15,000 I could find this house for. 15. And I'm willing to bet on that. $100. I could find a house for 15 grand for this size. I could find one. I found one like this with 10 acres of land outside of Sarasota, Florida for like $7,000 US. So D Dunk is saying, I don't know. Toronto got so expensive. Never used to be like this. Yep. 2-bedroom, 1-bath, tiny house, which is really more of a shed. So out of pocket, what are you paying out of pocket here? Let's see what this is going to cost. Yep, I was right with this, guys. This calculation's dead on. Because I forgot to read down here. There's your mortgage payment, there's your property tax, home insurance, and other costs. Out of pocket, $8,283. I wasn't off by too much here. See that? I wasn't off by a lot. Right? That's not including that's your food. $1,000 a month for your food. So I was dead to 1.5. Multiply the total mortgage payment by 1.5. It's usually how much you need to make home net. So that's net, $9,200 net. So how much is that Canada gross? Like 14 grand gross to take home 9,000 in Canada. Well, it's not Rhode Island. Rhode Island, live free or die. Someone says this is a $15,000 teardown. That's exactly what this is. A $15,000 teardown is exactly what this is. And it sells for $1.8 million. Okay, the Raven's calling in. Raven!
How's it going?
I got a deal and a half for you.
Okay, I'll take it.
Are you watching your screen?
No, I'm not. I'm walking my dog.
Oh, did you see that house for $1.8 million?
No.
Okay, let's just say your garage is 3 times bigger. And I haven't seen your garage.
Okay. No, I don't have one anymore. I got rid of it.
Well, your garage is still bigger. This thing is 25 feet by 100 feet, and it's sold for $1.8 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have to see the condition of it, too.
Wasn't it a mobile home?
No, it's not a mobile home. It's a tiny home. It's framed. It's a framed home, and it's on a foundation. You can see the cement.
Yeah.
So, how are things? You doing okay, buddy?
Yeah, no, doing good. Doing good. Just, my dog just ran up to some people here.
Oh, no, COVID. Oh, my God. Is he wearing a mask?
Yeah. No, he doesn't have his mask on either. Come on, Sarge. He's friendly. Yeah, sorry about that, Mike.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're doing your thing, walking the dog. So, anything planned? Any big plans happening this winter?
You know what? We were going to book a flight to Dominican, but if they cancel and lock us down, then they're just going to keep the money. So we're thinking, why would we take the chance?
Yeah. I spent
I take the chance.
I love Santo Domingo. I love Dominican Republic. I just don't go to Haiti.
We go to we go to Punta Cana.
Good.
So we're just gonna watch the debates. I guess there's 2 more. I think there's 2 or 3 more. 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the debate?
Hit and miss. People were sending me clips back and forth. I kind of knew what to expect from it. It's everything. I know. Joe was heavily scripted in that debate. You could tell.
The whole thing was it's a reality show. It's just an act.
Yeah, the whole thing Gerald Celente calls it the presidential reality show.
Yeah, it's just an actor. It's a couple actors. Trump is a genius actor. He's got people fooled. He's got all the MAGA people fooled.
When was the last time?
Everybody's fooled. That guy's going to take you right off the cliff with the New World Order. He doesn't care if it's Hillary or whoever it is.
I love China.
That's and then that little Proud Boys comment he made. What are they trying to start a race war?
No. Careful. It's trends in the housing market tonight. We'll do that on Mike in the Night.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
it was fresh, eh? It's just happened last night.
Yeah, I know. It's fresh. But are you working on Mike in the Night?
I'm not sure. Probably, I think. It's hard, to know my schedule. I'm on call.
Mexico.
Okay, it's good to know because Friday. I want you to come on the 3rd hour because Maneko 64 is supposed to come on the 2nd hour. So we got some huge questions we want to ask him about. Specific questions that I've already made up for him. I got specific questions here for Uneducated Economist. He's going to be on in the next 10 minutes. So we're going to have him on the show. And he's on fire right now. So it's good to get him on while he's running hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be good.
Yeah, he's going to be real good. I don't know if you came on at the beginning of the show, Raven, because I know of all the people that watch this channel, I know you're a very big viewer of the channel, and I know that you've been viewing the algorithmic movements of my channel with subscriptions. Apparently, YouTube has me on a deduction.
I told my girlfriend that today. I told her that today. I said, he's sitting at 12.8 thousand. What a joke. Like I go watch other people's channels. I watch everything. I know Lord Humongous does too. We're putting in 6, 7, 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's a lot. You're putting close to 50 hours a week researching and watching videos. This your Mike in the Night is the best one I've come across on the entire internet that I like. If you're into this type of stuff, if you're into economy and world events, by far the most entertaining show that I've seen. And I've been on tons of chat rooms. Tons, but I don't get, there's a quality of intelligence in your room that you don't find in other chat rooms. You find a lot of people that just want to cause problems in that. But I would like to sit down and I would talk to anybody in that room, in your room. That would be fun for me to see all the different, everybody's different characters, what they think about what's going on.
Like I said, we have a family here. YouTube has me on this deduction subscriber alert thingy that they have in their algorithm. So if I gain 1,000 subscribers, I'll lose 895 subscribers of the oldest subscribers I have.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it because your channel doesn't move, but it should be. You should be well over 100 grand.
Well, if you look at my Facebook fan page that I've been plugging all these years, it's at 120,000 fans. But the YouTube is at, I can't get past 12,000.
Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah. Oh, well,
that's not fair.
It is what it is.
It's just not fair.
It doesn't matter. I know nothing's fair, but you know what? I'm happy because I know you. I've met you. I've met Lenny Poo. I've met Lord Humongous. I've met Layla. I've met Anthony Ruvalakaba. I've met all you. I know you guys now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Lenny Poo told me that a house in Winnipeg 2 months ago that was 280 grand is now 350. 2-3 months ago, 280 grand. It's now 350. That's how fast that stuff. You can't get a house in the $300,000 range.
And that house, that same house in Memphis, 40 grand.
Yeah. Well,
with 2 acres.
It's a melt up, eh? It's unbelievable. Who would have thought? Money's running into hard assets everywhere. So, I have a feeling these guys are they're agitating the world for something that's going to be coming up in the next 5 weeks or so, right around the election. It seems like they're trying to get everybody stirred up for some reason. I don't know. And the way that debate is like, what are you setting the mood for the country? So we should all yell and fight at each other. Aren't you guys supposed to be the president? You're supposed to be the president.
I fully understand.
Sorry, I'm off topic again.
Mexico. I fully understand. Mexico.
No. I fully understand. So
yeah, it was fresh, eh?
Well, this Mike in the Night's going to be really good. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have Maneko 64 on. It's gonna be really nice, and I might get Steve Saretsky on next week on trends in the housing market.
Yeah, Martin North was good too.
Martin North's amazing. I asked him some pretty good questions.
Yeah, you did. You did good pre-research there on your questions. You're gonna have some more from Maneko 64, I'm sure. Eh?
Oh, I do. Yeah, because he's still we could go in. I want to get into a little bit of historic gold, a little bit of stimulus, QE, infinity, the whole 9 yards. We want to go over all that, and going over. The problem we're facing is that a lot of the governments today think that we need more consumption, so bringing in more people into the country will create more consumption, and in turn that will grow the economy. But it's not.
There's a bigger agenda at play here. This comes down to the trade war. That's our preconditioning for COVID was the trade war. That was the first conditioning we took. The first bioweapon was the swine flu to take our food. Then Brexit to cause confusion. This goes through many angles. These guys are doing this. This whole thing is a rigged con job. Everything is a rigged lie. And I heard you say that the other day in your video. You know that everything these people say is a lie. I was watching your video and I was like, right on, I heard you say it. The whole thing. Don't believe anything they say.
But do you think I just strut? I don't strut. I know what is what, and they know what is what. They just strut.
Yeah, the whole thing's a lie. And these guys they're using everything. And look at Brexit and ask Maneko that. Like, how much chaos is Brexit causing them right now? You know?
We're going to talk about Brexit, and we're going to talk about. I'm going to open the floor on for 20 minutes. I'm not going to keep asking him questions all night. I'm going to actually open the floor and let people in the comments ask questions too. You know.
Yeah, and you can tell them I sent you those pictures. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. That's freedom. Like I caught that at a crossing.
Well, I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to kind of reveal those photos because that could get me and you in trouble, right?
No. Put them up. Show the people in the room. Show them what's moving across Canada, going back to Britain. Those are big crew carriers with slat armor on them. That slat armor is for RPG. I looked that up. That's for RPG, rocket propelled grenades. It hits the slat armor, so it doesn't hit the walls of the vehicles. It works 50% of the time. Mm-hmm. That stuff's going back to Britain. It came from Shiloh, Manitoba, the base there. All those. If we see anything, you'll know about it right away. We got people watching for that stuff now. Mm-hmm. If it comes through this part of the world, you'll get a picture of it. That's not illegal or anything. That's just a picture. You know, we have people stand beside the track all day, take pictures of our engines. We call them foamers.
Oh, I just don't want you to get in trouble. But we'll talk about that on Mike and the Night for sure. I'm going to let you go because we're approaching the 8 o'clock hour to get our friend.
Yeah. And pull those pictures up on Mike and the Night.
I will. I'll pull them up. We're gonna go through a range of stuff on Mike and the Night, and we're gonna kick it off with economy, talking economic futures, because people need to know what they're in store for in the next 5 to 10 years. Because right now, we're lost. We're in the dark.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
5 weeks.
I'll talk to you Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Okay. Hasta la vista. That is the Raven. Hasta la vista, Raven. All right, let me just make sure that Uneducated Economist is ready to go. All right. So if you're just tuning in, oh, he's ready to go. He's got his thumb up, ready to go. So let's open the plug here. Let's close our trusty calculator. Let's open up our plug here for him. Okay, about... All right, let's get it. Yo, what's up, dog?
What's happening, brother?
All right, let me introduce you. Give me a second here. Okay? Take your time setting up, okay?
Yeah, let me get.
All right, guys. He's been ringing the alarm for years. Just straight discussion. And he's been on YouTube since 2017. And on his About section, he states, economic discussion forum bringing insight from a working class point of view. No suits to wear, no desk to sit at, just straightforward information and questions to converse. Take all information as entirety only. I have no background or no formal education and no reason for you to believe a single thing I say. I bring to you my opinions in hopes that awareness and conversation help to bring understanding to an incredibly complex topic. So that is from Uneducated Economist. So I bring you, hold on, let me set this up nice, so I could get you here on our screen here. Here we go, guys. Uneducated Economist. Could we get a round of applause here? Thank you so much for coming on. Dude, you're on fire. Man, I remember when you came on the channel with 2,200 subscribers. And you came on the show. And now you're sitting at almost 50,000 subscribers. That's a big undertaking. And I'm very grateful that you could come on the show and tell us your points of views, because you're on fire, man. And I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so how you doing? Everything okay? Tell us.
Yeah, man, everything's going really well. Business is going really well at work. With lockdown, pretty much over, and people kind of wanting to get those projects moving and keep going. We're pretty busy at work all summer. We have been. So things are going really well there. The YouTube channel is just doing phenomenal.
It is.
It just astounds me. I never thought it would ever grow to this big.
It does. You have a very clean channel. Your channel's very clean. You don't get too political. You don't get into too much. I've got all these. If you come to the analytics and look at the back end of my channel, it's all red with video taken down, video taken down, video taken down.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the Australian housing videos that I've done.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced any backlash from YouTube or any of the content that I've put out there. I found the ad placements that they decided to put on the longer videos quite annoying. I use my phone for pretty much everything,
right?
And you can't change the ad placements from your phone. You have to go to a computer,
right?
And so I have to, and so I generally upload during the day when I'm at work, and so I can't really get to YouTube to change these things around. And so I've been trying to keep those videos like between 7 and 8 minutes, if I go for a longer video, just to try to keep those ads, because I turned on one and they had like 11 ads on a 15-minute video or something.
Wow.
And I know people don't want to see that much. And so I'm almost thinking, is this YouTube trying to annoy people away from my channel?
No, I don't. I have.
Or is it just the way they go? I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I have free YouTube, so I have the YouTube. I pay the $6.75 a month, so I have no ads at all. So I don't see that. So I'm kind of lucky on that end. And I got the family package for an extra $2. So everybody in my house has no ads. So I don't see them. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
I got some questions. All right.
Awesome.
I found something on your channel the other day, from 2 weeks ago, and I want you to unpack it. It's government-funded retirement by Bill Ackman's proposal. What the hell is that? Can you explain to us? Because if it wasn't for your channel, I would have never even known that existed.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I just happened to come across that headline. Now, this was the idea. If I remember right, it's the ones that we were talking about. This is where at a child's birth, they put a little over $6,000 into a stock account and let that ride the entire time for the life of the person. And when they're 65, that should be somewhere over $1 million. So this is the idea that Bill Ackman has proposed. At least that's the idea behind it. Now, outside of that, I really don't know a whole lot about the inner workings of how this would be instituted, and how it would, how do you pick what stocks and all that. I don't know how any of that was going to work. All I think of is what's the outcome of something like this? And ultimately what I think of is that when somebody has this lingering out there in the distance money, they have $1 million coming to them when they're 65. The way I see people's spending behavior and the way they handle their finance, they will have that money spent far before they ever get it.
Or in fact, before they die.
They will pretty much be in debt $1 million because they know that they're going to have $1 million come. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They will have already spent it just knowing it. And a lot of it's the same game that the government plays. I think the government tries to basically dangle cheese out there in front of you with the stimulus thoughts, so that you think a check is coming, so that you'll go out there and spend, and then pretty soon they can just kind of postpone the stimulus, because they don't really need it anymore, because everybody went out there and spent their money. It's kind of the same thing. It's just like people will behave in ways that they think is going to happen. And that's, so I think it's just more of a psychological game in the end. Okay. But anyway, that was Bill Ackman's proposal. That's my thoughts on it, as far as it goes. I don't think it would work. I think that in the end, if everybody has $1 million, and $1 million isn't worth that much. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, if everyone, with inflation, if everyone has $1 million, obviously it's not going to be worth much at all, right? So, okay. I wanted to ask you of the depletion of the 401ks, and you got many levels of pensions on the hook, different levels of pensions on the hook. Are they just raising taxes across the board to fill these coffers? What are they doing? Because I know Chicago has 4 layers of government pension. And that's a lot of pension to fill. Now, what are they going to do? How is the state of Illinois going to pull something up? How would they what would they put in place to keep that on track without defaulting on pensions?
They can't. I mean, there's only 2 ways. You either cut the benefit or you raise the taxes. It's the only way you can get there.
Oh, that's
they can wish and pray and try and invest in the right opportunities, but with interest rates as low as they are, they have very little security out there to try and find the higher that higher return on
Yield,
you know, more sounds. Yeah, you know, the yield on it. I mean, you can't get into government bonds, then you're taking risk after that, and that's ultimately where they go to. So they can't.
Okay.
I mean,
Before
I mean, that's what I think. I mean, unless unless something unforeseen comes up, I don't know. But the way it looks right now, I don't see how they could.
Okay. I want to unpack the video, dollar strengthening, markets weakening. That was a very good video. So let's, a lot of people are here to listen to the price of lumber. So price of lumber, you say it's going to drop come January in your video. Tell us, that was a really good, piece that you put together, why it will. Explain to us.
Well, it kind of goes into a long story, but ultimately, right now we are sitting in a supply shortage, and it wasn't due to any kind of extreme shock to the system other than mills had curtailed development during a time that an extreme demand came in. So if you're not familiar with the lumber shortage, what took place is that during the lockdown, mills took under the impression that there was not going to be a lot of projects. And if there's not a lot of projects being done, then they're going to hold back on their production. They don't want to be sitting on a bunch of inventory that's not selling.
Right.
When they did this, everybody was sitting at home, got a stimulus check, and realized, man, you know, I would like to have a new deck or fence, or, you know, need to start working on the house. And then all of a sudden there was this rush of people with a stimulus check sitting at home, going to the lumber yard and buying up all the pressure treated lumber to build their decks, fences, gazebos, whatever they were doing. And it depleted the supply. Now trying to fill that supply chain back up is got very difficult to handle, because pretty much it's not just a matter of just sawing logs and putting it out there for sale. There's a lot to it, because a lot of the lumber that is used nowadays is kiln dried. Mm-hmm. And this kiln dried lumber has to go through, basically it's a giant building that they put it in, and they heat that building up. So this lumber has so much capacity that they can fill into this kiln, and then it takes a certain amount of time to happen, and you can't speed that up. So it's bottlenecked right there. So there's, you know, only so much supply that can actually fill into the supply chain as they're trying to fill in this depleted, you know, inventory that took place. But something interesting that I thought of too, because I have a logging buddy who was telling me that they're not logging. And they haven't been logging a whole lot all summer long. Now, a lot of it has to do with, you know, dry weather, and then they can't work in the woods because of fire hazards and stuff like that. But he said that he had never seen it as slow as he was experiencing this summer. And I thought that was kind of strange, that this demand for lumber, and yet there's a slowdown in the logging. And what I realized is that the sawmills actually have more than one product that they're producing outside of the lumber. They produce pulp as well. Yes. And they produce bark, and they produce a lot of other products out there. And if there's no demand for those products, then they can't keep producing lumber while this other product that they produce is not selling. And what I realized about pulp is that China was like a 25% buyer of the world, or of the United States pulp. And during this whole trade war and everything, they pretty much stopped buying a lot of pulp from us. They also stopped buying garbage, which means we here in the United States started recycling a lot more paper. So we didn't need that pulp as much even here in the United States. So it's put this backing inside of the sawmills, where they're backed up with like other products besides just the logs. And then up there in the logging industry, you can't just go up and log and just pull out the saw logs. They clear cut, they take it all, and they have to take all the biomass. And if there's no demand for this biomass, then the loggers are having issues trying to just get up there and log itself. So I realized it's this culmination of a lot of stuff that just happened to come down this summer. Raised the prices up to $900 per thousand. Now, for people who don't quite understand per thousand, that's 1,000 board feet, and they generally base it off of 2x4 green random length lumber. So $900 per 1,000 board feet is extremely high. Mm-hmm. Typically 200 to 400 would be like, say, an average. 500 would be high. 600.
So that'd be like what, $6-7 for a 2x4?
Right now we have retail prices at $8.63
American.
for a 2x4 American.
That's
for
$10
a standard
Canadian.
Yeah, and that's twice as much as it has ever been when I saw lumber at its previous high. That, like, I saw like lumber selling for like 2x4 selling for $4.30, and I went, yeah, that's crazy. That's way too high. Mm-hmm. And right now it's selling at $8.63.
Now, what effect is this having on builders that have been building through this season. Now,
Yep.
are they going to sell their homes for more? How are they going to take are they going to take a loss? Can you maybe explain that?
Yeah, well, luckily for the builders right now, if they have their home in completion or getting into the position of selling right now, they're going to probably do pretty well considering how hot the market is and, how easy it is to seem to sell a home right now to everybody, especially in my area. I live out in a rural area, so people are just loving it here. They want to buy up homes out here in the lesser condensed areas of the country. And so, in my opinion, what I'm seeing is that the builders are probably going to be sitting in a pretty good position. However, when this does roll over, they're going to be sitting in a very difficult position, considering that all the lumber that's going to be coming up for sale for the new houses being built is going to be coming in at a cheaper rate.
Right.
And as houses become cheaper to build, then, you can make more profit margin off of a lesser sale. And so be it, the people who have the houses that are up on the higher end up having to take a lesser price or a lesser margin in order to compete with the new houses that are coming onto the market at a lesser cost. So that's kind of what I see during the rollover. So that's going to be very hard on a lot of builders who stretch themselves very thin already. And, anyway, that's kind of what I see on that.
Okay, so let's break down a few numbers here. And I was looking at, that was a good, take a drink, take a sip of your water there.
I've just got, sorry, I got a sore throat going on.
It's okay,
today,
buddy. This is not, we're not scripted here.
The
Don't
smoke
worry.
is back here in Oregon again. That smoke from all the wildfires is clouding back into Astoria again. So it's just,
Yeah, I know. I've been tracking that from time to time, and it's pretty. Here we've been okay. Luckily, we've had a pretty clear summer up here where I'm at. But I'm only like a 7-hour drive from you, 6-hour drive.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I was hoping, that we didn't have all this crap and this border closing. You could have just come up and visit me.
Yeah, it would have been a good year for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, my boys would have looked like that.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Now, I've been doing some research, and I've been kind of looking at some numbers, and I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but correct me if I'm wrong. The Fed owns a total of 23,940, what I've found, different securities. Biggest investor. Are we seeing? My question to you is now: are we seeing a federal buyout of the private corporate sector?
You think like the Federal Reserve is buying up all the corporate?
Whatever
like all the
private corporate sector that exists. Federalizing it. I mean, it's a big question, but I mean, if they own 23,000, if I'm right about these numbers, and they own 23,940 different securities, they are now the world's biggest investor.
Yeah. Well, I would like to know what the securities are, I guess, because, I mean, are they talking like treasury securities and mortgage-backed securities?
Mixed.
And,
We're talking from everything. We're talking all kinds.
Well, and that's where we need to start, defining where there is that they're interjecting into the market, because really, I mean, from what I've read on the lending facilities that they set up during this whole, COVID crisis, whatever the hell they're calling it. Yeah. I mean, it just drives me nuts, because every time they talk about a recession, they have to start it off by saying it's a COVID thing. And it's just like, oh God, you guys are ridiculous. Anyhow, and when the lending facilities that they set up were built to basically cover any corner of the market. So if all of a sudden they realized that there was like no demand for car loans, they would be there to buy car loans. Okay. Right. Same thing with credit cards, same thing with small businesses, everybody who could possibly ever want to borrow money, they were going to be there to back it up. And the way they can't just do it. They can't just like, hey, we're going to buy credit card debt. So they have to set up a special purpose vehicle. And the special purpose vehicle is like a separate entity. It's like a separate business away from them. And then they loan those guys money. And then those guys go out there and then they buy those, they can buy those securities and whatever it is that they have like limitations to buy. The Treasury did it in conjunction. They can only do this with unusual and exigent circumstances. So This is a temporary program that they are setting up, that they've already extended to the
Well, they said that about QE1, QE2, QE3, QE Infinity, QE repo buybacks. They're calling it Operation Twist, whatever they want to call it. So it's always changing the narrative.
Right. And so they put like an intense amount of money into these things. I mean, we're talking like hundreds of billions of dollars. That is capable to be lent through these special purpose vehicles into the economy. Some of them really like were pretty popular. You know, like the payroll protection program, stuff like that. Those everything that happened with those things, the obvious ones, really got used well, but some of them have never been touched and hardly been touched. And like the municipal bonds and like, the Main Street lending facility where they were going to lend to small business. Some of these things, I mean, hardly like less than 1% of the money has ever been lent out through these special purpose vehicles. So it leads me to believe that a lot of this stuff was not necessary to begin with, but they needed it there for a particular reason. And that reason is that they needed the credible threat. They needed to be there to say that we will be here if it needs to be. And they have the credible threat behind it, so they actually buy stuff. So when it came to like the corporate debt, and they wanted to make sure that plenty of people were knowing that the Federal Reserve was going to buy into this corporate debt, that buying just a little bit of corporate debt triggered the investors to go out there and buy up all the corporate debt. The Federal Reserve really didn't have to do anything.
Right.
They didn't buy anything. They did a little bit, and so on the grand scheme of things, they really did nothing. They just set up the special purpose vehicle as the credible threat to get everybody to be convinced that they will do it, which they will, if they need to.
Yeah, if they
so
needs be, but a security blanket, so to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a security blanket, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, a security blanket for the investors. I mean, when you have like a guarantee that they're going to do it, then like, it's like basically saying that you can't lose. I mean, and so why wouldn't you? If the Federal Reserve says we're going to take interest rates lower, then you can pretty much guarantee that if buying a treasury, the Federal Reserve is going to say they're going to buy back from you for a better price. And so, yeah, it's like, that term, don't fight the Fed, that's where everybody is like basically sitting when, the Federal Reserve talks about all the stimulus programs and the lending facilities and all that other stuff. They're just like, hey, come march with us.
It's called kicking the can down, not down the road, kicking the can 3 blocks down, or kicking the can out of out of the state, is what they're trying to do, prolong. So
it's more like they're going to run up and say, hey, we're going to kick the can, but it's everybody else who did it. It's like,
So, okay.
I don't know.
Let's get into some a little bit of meat and potatoes. Markets are getting hit. I don't know if you've been noticing, but markets are getting hit. The bond market's not looking good. I mean, even the safe haven assets like the treasuries are sitting idle. Everything on the sidelines. A lot of economists have come forward and have stated that the worst must be over by now, or the worst looks like it's over. What do you have to say to that?
No, I think the worst is yet to come.
Yeah.
I think the worst is yet to come. But, and I guess it's like, when I say the worst is yet to come, the worst is yet to come for some people. Other people are probably going to do very well during, a crisis situation if they're prepared and, put in the right position for it. But as far as like being over, there would not be like so much talk about stimulus coming from the Federal Reserve saying that the government has to do something, fiscal stimulus of some sort, if there wasn't going to be like more issues down the road. I mean, basically, if they're saying, no, we don't need it, then everything would be fine. But they're saying that we need it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is trouble. Like, this is saying like, we're having issues. We need to keep, we need to deal with that. If they were going the other way with it, then they would be saying, hey, everything is kind of going good, right? So that's my opinion about it. Like, there's no way that we have gone through the thick of it because nothing was really fixed. It was masked over with even more debt. And so it's just a matter of time before that debt comes to come to show itself again. And it's going to happen a lot quicker than people think it's going to happen.
Because right now the tech stocks are looking in severe jeopardy. I've been watching a few tech stocks lately, and they're not looking very good. And I saw that the Russell 2000, it's like the weakest it has been in the last year. And it's getting, I think it's getting hit pretty hard. I think the Russell 2000 is going to get even hit harder during the election cycle and the elections. I don't see, like you said, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I think we're just getting off the beaten path, and now we're getting lost in the woods right now, if you want to metaphorically put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me see if I have any other questions here. Some good ones. I have one here actually. Very very simple question. And I've been talking. I've been really trying to put my mind around this because you saw what happened in Greece and Cyprus about 8 years ago when there was a runoff in their money supply, where people were going racing to the banks to take money out. Now they're gonna. I believe that this is my question to you. When will currency go digital? When will you think they would remove currency as a whole and start introducing negative rates? Because countries like in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, I don't know if you saw earlier in the show where I was showing that $1.8 million 100 square foot home that sold in Canada. Yeah, you should rewind and see. Yeah.
Oh well, I'll go check it out.
You should see that. And that's normal. Like, properties are selling for that much. Now, the problem is for them to keep this going, when are they going to eliminate cash so they don't see a Cyprus runoff? And when are they going to start putting digital currency so they can implement negative interest rates? Go ahead.
Well, I don't know when that'll happen. It's just a matter of time.
Do you think it's going to happen?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to happen at some point. Especially if they try and, if they try and maintain the system as it's functioning as right now, where they continue to try and drop interest rates and try and keep, consumers stimulated with, more credit and stuff like that, then you have to go into negative interest rates. And so, but as far as like the timing of getting rid of cash and moving into like negative interest rates that are at our deposit level, like like when we deposit our paychecks into the bank, I can't imagine that anytime like in the near future. Like, that's out there a ways.
They might start like Germany.
Yeah,
Germany did 100,000 on any bank accounts with over 100,000 are paying interest, a negative interest. So Germany has already introduced it soft like that, and they're going to move it down, they say, to 40,000 by the end of 2021, and by 2025 they should be on all accounts.
Okay, so 5 years, right? So that's kind of a ways away. I'm not saying like 50 years away, but it's a ways out. It's not going to happen like, in the next 2 years, I don't think. Mm-hmm. The Fed coin is going to be pretty obvious when it comes out. And I think that it's not going to be any kind of secret, that it's going to be pretty apparent what they're up to. So, I mean, honestly, I think it's probably going to end up coming through the stimulus packages. I think that there's going to be more than those coming into the future. I think there's going to be something that's going to be resembling like a UBI, like a universal basic income. At least, it's going to be a temporary thing, that they're going to call it. To make it function easier, they're going to use FedCoin, a cryptocurrency. That's going to be the introduction to it. And at that time, it's going to be very like casual, so to speak. Like, nobody's going to know the difference between that and cash. There's not going to be a debate about whether or not cash is, losing its value or being taken out. There's not going to be a hurry for it. And then eventually what's going to end up happening is that cash is going to be a nuisance for you to take to the bank or withdraw from the bank. And then that's when the fees are going to start kicking in. That's where the negative impact to your cash is going to start taking place. And so it'll basically deter you from wanting to take cash out because you're going to pay a fee, and then they're going to deter you from wanting to put cash back in because you're going to pay a fee. So it's going to deter you from wanting to have cash in general because there's going to be this fee that's attached to it. And so it'll pretty much kind of force everybody just naturally into the digital currencies.
That's what they've done. I think in Sweden and Finland, they made it very hard for you to deposit your check. And if you did, like if you're not getting paid digitally or direct deposit, people have to drive miles to get to a bank machine, and it's a headache for them. And a lot of banks have been closing down bank machine locations or teller like locations so people to avoid cash. And their excuse in that article was that it costs a lot of money to count the coins and process it and deposit it in the machines for the people. So they're creating a reason why. It seems like it's legit, but we've been doing it since millennia, right? So
yeah. And ultimately, like, I just try, like, I try and use cash as much as I can when I'm doing, like, when I tip somebody, when I'm doing like maybe a private, like purchasing something from somebody. I don't write them a check, I use cash to do that. And so that's really the ultimate, the only form of actually doing a transaction until now that you got like this Venmo and these PayPals and stuff like that are starting to come out there with, kind of peer-to-peer transactions, where you can just kind of transact between, you and your friends. Those things are so common now. Like I watch in the retail, world of things, and the amount of people who use some sort of digital payment is far above cash. Although there's a lot of it. I would say probably 30% of the sales are in cash, which seems to me to be a lot.
That's a lot of cash.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of cash, considering and most of them are pretty small sales, I mean, $20, kind of transactions, pretty small stuff. Once they get over like 50, $60, it really drops. Like people are willing to spend like $20 cash, but the hundreds or 50s are only if they are spending like $1,000 and they brought it $1,000 cash. It seems to be like this I don't know why, but it just seems to be this kind of limit within themselves to only spend so much cash. And then after that, it goes on to this debit card or whatever. So, and I see like the younger generations, they are certainly more into using digital forms of transactions. And
they're more comfortable with debt.
They're far more comfortable with it than carrying cash. Like, it's so funny when people because I count cash back. I'm like one of the few people that actually, when I do a purchase with you, I count the change back to you, to make sure that I get it right. Because, it's easy to make a mistake. And it's amazing on how many people thank me for that. Just thank me for counting the cash back to them. They say it's a dead thing that nobody does it. And like younger kids, like the ones at the mini mart or something like that, they just kind of throw the money back at you. They don't even know how to handle it. They don't, they don't understand it really. And
I want to add something in there. The youth, especially, I mentioned something, is they're so comfortable with debt load. Carrying so much debt. It's crazy.
Yeah, I talk to young people about their debt, and they really have this it's
gotta be paid back.
It's like they look at me, it's like, what's the problem? What do you care? What is the difference? And I'm thinking you don't understand, you have this demon dragon thing that's holding you back, and they're like, well, everybody has it, no big deal, it's just really weird. Yeah. I don't get it.
Okay. Dollar strengthening, markets weakening video you made. Dollar strengthening, markets weakening video you made, and basically we are seeing a weakening economy, a weakening dollar, but a weakening economy, but a strengthening dollar. And sitting on cash is king. And I'm with you on this, and I'm going to tell you why I'm with you, because right now the dollar index is trading at 94. And that's pretty good. It used to be trading at 91 when the dollar was losing a lot of its drive, but now it's at 94, and then you're seeing that in the price of metals going down. And also I just don't let's look at Argentina, for example. Argentina's had 3 resets in the last 10 years. 3 complete resets in the last 10 years, okay? What does everybody run to? American dollars. Right. They've made it illegal to buy more than $200 American dollars per month in Argentina. They've made it illegal to go to Brazil, Portuguese America, into Brazil and actually buy US dollars in Brazil and bring it back to Argentina. Now they're going to outlaw buying US dollars in Argentina by 2022. That's what they're hoping to do so the U.S. dollar, I think, is still the right now the king of currency right now when it comes to places like Croatia, where they're having issues there. You're seeing places like parts of Africa where people are scrounging to pick up American dollars at every angle. You know what I'm saying? If you go to places like Angola, a lot of people still trade in Angola in U.S. dollars, believe it or not, even though they have their kazwana as what they use. There's a lot of countries, like if you go to India, you'll still find American dollars. I think the American cash is king. I think you're right on that. Sitting on cash is king right now, especially with weakening economies. Do you see, how do you say, countries losing faith? I see countries losing faith in the American dollar, but I don't see the people losing faith in American dollars.
Yeah. Well, there's already kind of a movement for like a dollar de-dollarization, this global, kind of occurrence to try and move away from holding, the U.S. debt as part of their, assets. But the world pretty much functions using the US dollar. There's no other system out there that even comes close to matching what the US dollar can do and what it's got going right now for it. Is there other forms coming? Yeah. And is it going to eventually take over? Eventually. I mean, the dollar will not last forever. There's no currency that ever has, and there's no reason to believe that this one will either. However, right now, no matter where you go in the world, that $100 bill will be accepted just about anywhere you go.
Yeah, you can go to Iceland, Portugal, Australia. Everybody knows what a Benjamin looks like.
That's it. And so when you do a deal with a person and you are in one country and the other person's in another country and you are going to do a deal with them and you're going to sign a contract on it, you're going to do it in US dollars. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's a demand for US dollars there. Now, a lot of these contracts, they're done not in like a traditional banking system that you would be recognized. A lot of these things are done in the shadow systems. So they don't even know how much demand for dollars there are.
I think we'll see a shortage of dollars still in the next couple of years.
I think there could come a time where it's not so much like how much the Federal Reserve is printing that you're worried about, is just if the Federal Reserve can print it fast enough to deal with the demand that's coming from the rest of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably where, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing a change in the way they do things, where they're trying to inject money right into the system to try and supply the world with the dollars that they are demanding. And it may not happen at a pace that's fast enough to deal with, the amount that's out there. That's a hard concept to really wrap your mind around. You should, there's a lot of YouTubers out there who do a great job talking about that whole system.
Don't worry about those guys.
I don't.
We got you tonight.
I'm just saying there's I'm by far no expert of it, but once you start wrapping your mind around that concept of it and you start realizing, holy crap, there's this whole world of demand for dollars out there. People are transacting using contracts as if they're dollars, but they never once ever have the dollars. And then one day the demand for dollars starts picking up and they don't want the contract anymore. They want the dollar. Mm-hmm. And that's where I think that people do not realize how big that's going to happen. And that's where you can see some serious deflation. And anyway.
Yeah, that was a good response to that. Okay, so housing in your area, what's going on with the housing?
Same kind of like the same as everywhere else. There's a particular area. I don't really look at a whole bunch of houses out there as far as where the real estate is in the entire county. I've picked one little particular spot out of the county because I'm searching for a house in that area. And so I've really limited to what I'm experiencing just in that. But I kind of look at it. During the lockdown, I saw pretty much 50% of this little area reduce the prices of their houses. And I thought, wow, look at that. That is amazing. And I got to talking to some real estate agents and stuff like that. They're like, nobody's looking, people who are looking to sell. There was all these excuses, but anyway, now there's no reductions. Prices are off the charts. And I talked to a couple of guys who do spec homes and their houses are selling for more than what they're asking for. Mm. And so it's just this is a pretty hot and overly hot market. And so to me, it doesnto me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, what's going on out there. And so when it doesn't make sense to me, then, I mean, to me, it's it's obviously running into some sort of bubble territory or something, because it doesn't, when things make sense and, then you understand it a little bit better, but, this is out of control.
Here where we are, wages to housing here is 16 to 24 times the annual income. So it's really bad where we are. Yeah.
See, I thought it was bad here. That's that's really bad.
We did a show, we did a trends in the housing market about before COVID, about 10, 11 months ago, where we had an article from the two major cities in Canada, Toronto and Vancouver. In Vancouver, you will have to work an average to high wage earning job 17 years to afford a down payment to buy a condo. And in Toronto, you have to work 22 years to put a down payment. So you go to your son and put your arm around his shoulder. Hello, son. You're going to get off to work today, and in 20 years, you'll be able to make a down payment on a condo. That's how bad it's gotten here. If you want to watch If you want to watch some of the old trends in the housing market that I have, old episodes, you'll see why they're being taken down and why I'm getting strike down for those videos, and they're being strike down as bullying, believe it or not.
Oh man. That's terrible. I can't imagine, like, having to work 20 years. I mean, by that time, why even bother?
Move to Costa Rica.
It's like, you saved up all this money for this down payment. It's like, oh, damn, I'm not going to put that on it. I'm going to put it on a house. I'm going to keep that, you know?
And then you got the strata fees to pay. And then, you have up here in Canada and Australia and the UK and New Zealand, the patterns are pretty much the same. Insurances, like condos, like the average condo, insurance companies don't even want to insure them because when you're paying $800,000 for a one-bedroom condo, the insurance is catastrophic for an entire complex, right? So strata companies are having a tough time. They're raising strata fees because they can't get insurances. Oh my God, it's an absolute disaster.
Yeah. See, like, I mean, how come? I mean, I guess I mean, the stress and the pain can last for a long time, but I mean, can that like really last forever? I mean,
It can't.
That's what I'm
why,
thinking. It's just like, that's why being patient about the whole thing is just like, you just sit back and be patient because it's obviously just like it can't go. It can't continue, forever. And,
Well, Canada has a secret weapon. Wealthy investors from China, and we've been bringing in 500,000 per year, and that's what's been offsetting our 25 million, 30 million population. You bring enough that much laundered money in, holy crap. I've read articles on the show that Canada would be in a recession if it wasn't for money laundering, and they broke down all the years and how many billions, hundreds of billions of dollars per year were laundered through different provinces. So we're screwed up here, We're in a really bad. One day I'll come on your channel and I'll be on your show and you'll see what we're dealing with in Australia and Canada and New Zealand. So anyways, okay, Uneducated Economist, we're going to take some questions. You have time for some questions?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I got time.
Okay. All right, guys, let's get some questions out there. So if you, I'm going to just close you off here I'm going to move you off here for 1 second. Guys, Uneducated Economist, here's his channel. I want everybody to go there right now and subscribe. I'm going to put a link in the live chat. Here it is. Uneducated Economist. We have enough people watching to get him at least to 44,000 subs in the next couple of days because there's a lot of replay on my shows. So, guys, get over there. There's the link for Uneducated Economist. Please go over there and subscribe and let him know that you came from this channel. Guys, don't forget, also, this Saturday on Mike in the Night, we have Maneko64 from England. And don't forget to set your reminders for that. I'm going to give you guys that right here. There's Maneko64 next week. He's going to be on the show. Don't forget to subscribe to my Facebook fan page. I'm almost at 120,000 Facebook fans. I wish my YouTube would grow as fast as my Facebook fan page. And we got my Instagram here. And Instagram, if you guys want to follow that. And don't forget to buy a mug or something on Teespring. Uneducated Economist also has a store. I'm going to give you the link to his store. Go ahead to his store. He's got mugs. He's got cell phone covers, sweaters. Please go ahead and pick up something at his shop and support him. All right. Let's get to some questions with Uneducated Economist here. All right, I just wanted to do a little plug there for you. There you go. Everyone subscribe. Thank you for subscribing. Yes, everyone subscribing. Yes, thank you, and thank you there. I'm just reading some comments here. Okay, guys. Okay, questions. Instagram. No, not that question. Central bank collusion. Commonwealth countries. No, that's just what I was talking about. We're just catching up to, because there's about a minute and a half lag. On my videos because they think I'm I don't know. Questions for Uneducated Economists. Line them up. Let's go, guys. Yeah, we're getting a lot of stuff here in the comments. People are still talking about.
So when are you interviewing Maneko64?
This Saturday is going to be on Mike in the Night. We're going to be talking uncertain economies. And he's going to be coming on Saturday. Last week on trends in the housing market, I had Martin North from Australia. Very cool. He's a economic economist from Australia, and he was breaking it down really well for us and giving us an understanding of the whole money velocity thing there in Australia and inflation and looking at parts of deflationary areas and breaking down the whole thing. It was really good. It was a really good discussion. You should see that if you get some time. Ask economists what he thinks about what will happen to crypto when FedCoin is released.
Um, I think, well, the crypto community doesn't really care about what's going on with the governments and their actions and stuff like that. So I think like the cryptocurrencies, like the ones that have good good teams behind them for the services that they're trying to put with them, I think those things will probably continue. I think that cryptocurrencies, I mean, I personally like cryptocurrencies. I have nothing against them. Now, you know, heard a lot of arguments towards cryptocurrencies, and I get it. There's a lot of negativity that can come with it, but I see a lot of good that can come with it too. And I'm more like kind of an acceptor of all currencies. Like I take in cash, I take in silver, I'll take in Bitcoin, I'll take, whatever. I mean, however, I'm all about money anyway. Let's just figure this thing out. So I think the good teams with cryptocurrencies will succeed and continue to go, into the future with it, simply just because like they don't care what the rest of the world is doing. They're working on their projects,
Next question from Raleigh D. Lumber. Where is it headed?
Yeah.
You said in your last video it's going to go down, right?
Yeah. Well, I have a feeling that the supply chain will catch back up to the demand come this winter time, when things start to slow down. That at the same time, we're starting to see lumber futures start to catch back into the area in which you would find more reasonable. The September contract closed on September 15th at 900 per thousand. November contracts right now are sitting around 600 per thousand, which is still really high, but it's not the 900 per thousand that we've seen or the 650 that we experienced a couple of years ago. So, could it go back up to 900? Sure, if the demand continues to go up and, the supply is still limited, but I see the supply chain kind of picking back up a little bit now. The order file, like when you place an order, it takes 6 weeks to get the lumber. Well, when that starts to shorten up, which it's starting to do, you used to be like 6 weeks. Now it may take 5 weeks or 4 weeks, and this timing starts to shorten up. Well, then, the supply chain's filling back in again, and it's only a matter of time before, there's more supply than demand and the prices come back down. So I think that we're going to experience that probably in the next couple of months is what I'm assuming as the building season starts to wind down and we come into the winter, colder months.
Okay, we have Raven's asking, ask Uneducated Economist if he thinks private cryptos will be allowed once central bank digital currencies are up and running. You kind of answered that earlier. You think that it would just keep going. It's an underground thing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately allowed. I mean, it might get banned, like in the sense that you can't transact with it with banks and stores and stuff like that. Right. But again, the whole cryptocurrency was started away from that system anyway, and so that community can really care less, and so they'll transact in it anyway. So I think it'll continue to roll, no matter what.
Okay, we have what's this one here? FedCoin can't happen. Okay, it's saying FedCoin can't happen. 5% of the U.S. economy is drug dealers.
Okay.
Well, because they only deal with cash, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, drug dealers love cash. Yeah. I mean, that's their ultimate currency. That's what they want. They want the U.S. dollar. But if they can. Drug dealers will trade anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be money. They'll figure it out. If they can gain wealth from the drugs, then they will. Now, if you're talking about the CIA level of drug dealers, then okay, I can understand that that's going to need more cash because you can't have it traced if those guys are the ones. But that's conspiracy theory stuff, and I'm not really following that kind of thing.
No, I know. Just questions.
So the FedCoin is going to happen. I mean, you can see it. It's just like now how successful and how well they are at introducing it to the point that, if it meets resistance or not, that still needs to be played out. But yeah, the FedCoin's happening. It's going to happen at some point.
Okay. Anna Key's asking, does UE think the Fed is just smoke and mirrors?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's all about, they're a confidence game. That's it. Basically, they need you to be convinced that they have a knowledge that only they can possess and that, their decisions on what they're doing with monetary policies and everything that goes with it is is the right one, and you don't need to worry about it, because if you did and you followed them, then they couldn't exist to begin with. Because if everybody understood how the Fed operated, then they wouldn't even be in existence. Everybody would not use them. They would go to gold and silver or Bitcoin or do whatever. They wouldn't use the Federal Reserve if people truly understood what the Federal Reserve was. You would just naturally avoid it.
And then you go back to its foreign entity, if you go back to if you follow the money, and a lot of good people have gotten into trouble or gotten into a lot of trouble tracing that money back and.
Well, I mean, you think about it, the entire currency is based off of somebody else's promise to pay,
right.
And the promise to pay that it's somebody else's is the governments who don't pay. They just keep taking out more debt. So your money is backed by somebody's promise, which is the U.S. government, who doesn't ever pay. They just keep rolling the debt over into more debt. And so, I mean, if you want to put your entire life behind that and hold on to that currency as some kind of store of wealth because you believe in those guys, and I say go for it. I personally am just waiting for the opportunity to move it over into something that I find is undervalued.
When do you think? I got a question for you. When do you think that America is going to go to a more transit currency that's actually backed by something? Like John Fitzgerald Kennedy in 1961-62 started to print silver coins, $50, started to have these notes that are backed by silver and stuff. He tried to ease, the life support from the Fed back in the 60s, because he saw the military-industrial complex was getting too big. And it's kind of funny, if you look at it, how Kennedy was taken out, and then right after you had, Richard Milhouse Nixon, that pulled you guys off the gold standard in 1971. It's so, if you look at the events and how they took place and how they built more of an economic currency as opposed to a gold-backed currency, in my opinion, I think it's just too expensive to go to war with a gold-backed currency. I think you have to get a lot of gold in your coffers.
Well, yeah. I mean, it forces the government to in restraint to however much gold that they have. I mean, when you have a debt-based currency, there is no limit to spending. You can spend as much as you want. So, the gold is what anchors governments from being able to do the things that they are doing right now.
Right.
You think about it, the Federal Reserve, when they were introduced into the economy, when the economy was growing hot, they were there to try and add money to the supply so that they wouldn't have a deflation. They needed, there was more goods and services being traded, so they needed more money to be in there. So they were there to be elastic, right? Hey, we're here to make sure that there's a proper amount of currency in the system. And we promise we won't print too much. And then by the 20s, they had printed too much.
Right.
Right. By the 30s, they had to take the gold out of everybody's pockets. And they said, okay.
That was the confiscation.
The confiscation. And then they said, it was just okay, listen, we got all the gold. We're sorry, we screwed it up. We promise we won't print too much. Right. And then 30 years later, they had printed too much, and they got to the 71 and they had to just say, okay, too many countries are withdrawing too much gold because we've printed so much dollars out there and everybody has these dollars and they know that there's more dollars than there is gold. So if we don't do this, we're going to crash our system. Sorry, guys, we're not getting any gold.
Right.
Because we're printing too much. And now that we've done that, we promise we won't print too much. Remember Nixon had that famous, the dollar rolls buy tomorrow what a dollar buys today. And it just went off into the inflation catastrophe. It just took off from there. There was nothing to hold them back. And there was nothing to pull that confidence. You remember that confidence behind it that says that, our money is backed by something. These guys are printed up way too much. Nobody wants this money. And they were losing it. And so they were like, okay, so now what do we do? And at one point, people were actually, because a lot of people think that negative interest rates was just something that's new to the banking system within the last, 10, 12 years or whatever. What was it? The Swiss were charging negative interest rates to foreign depositors. Yeah. Because everybody was trying to get their money into their accounts. And it was absolutely devastating their exports as everybody was drawing in on these, on their currency. It was just strengthening it up to the point that nobody could, that they couldn't they couldn't export their goods to anybody. And so they had to put like limitations on it by just basically charging people to deposit money with them. And the United States was sitting in a super terrible position. They actually had bonds that they were issuing that they would pay back in German Deutschmarks, right? This is how bad the United States was sitting in at this point, that nobody trusted them. And so finally they had to, by the early 80s, they're like, okay, well, the only way to solve this is to jack the interest rates way up to 15% and start getting a demand for our treasuries. And it's just been on ever since.
Yeah.
And so it's the early 80s, interest rates have done nothing but drop for bondholders. It's been just a dream. It's like a win-win every time you get paid an interest rate, and the bonds just keep going up in price as the interest rates drop.
It's been a party for them, for those guys. But people losing faith in a lot of the markets right now. You're seeing quite a bit of sell-offs, and I'm seeing quite a bit of sell-offs in the last couple of days here. And
It's reasonable to think that. I mean, how fast did this market rise? And then, people are sitting up there going like, it's just like everybody around is talking about it. And if you start seeing the market start to drop, well, then you want to get out. And once the market starts picking up that momentum, it's really hard to stop it until it hits, a place where people are like going, I can't believe how cheap it is. And then it moves the other way again. And so, you just look for it. When people say that, I cannot believe how high it is, that's the time you sell. You just do what those rich guys do. You be fearful when people are greedy, be greedy when people are fearful. Buy assets that are unloved, unappreciated,
And if you don't take profits, you're gambling.
And that's right. If you don't take profits, you're gambling. See, I learned my lesson really big time. Like, that's why I changed my view about silver from an investment to a savings. And I don't invest in silver, I save in silver. Because when it was 2011, or it was before that, it was like 2009, I bought into silver. And at 2011, when it was at $50 an ounce, and I was sitting on a pile of silver, and I thought, man, I am the smartest person in the world, but I didn't sell a single ounce of it. And it fell all the way down to $13 an ounce. And I hadn't taken any money off the table, and was now like completely underwater because I bought probably most of my silver in the mid 20s somewhere. And you learn a valuable lesson from that. And pretty soon you realize, okay, were you greedy or not? I mean, maybe you should have been greedy, because then you would have cashed out.
Yes.
Right. But you're not. You were being fearful, or you were being whatever. You were being fearful at a time when you should have been greedy, or something. You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to kind of go against what your emotions are telling you. When you see the momentum running up, and you're like, people are like, oh my God, it's 28, it's 29, it's going to 30, it's going to 35, and it's just like, yeah, I'm going to the coin store with my 35 ounces of silver and getting some cash, because this can't continue. That's the kind of mentality you have to have. You can't, like, how did Dave Morgan put it? I love silver. I want to date her, but I certainly don't want to marry her.
Right.
And that's the way you got to have to feel about it. It's just like, hey, you can have a lot of appreciation and love for this thing, but at some point you got to let it go. And that's something you got to remember with anything, including stocks. If you see the momentum changing, especially if you were like a momentum driven trader, it was just like, I saw it went from, 1,000 to 2,000, and now it's up at 5,000. It was just like, get out. It's time to move
Get
on.
out.
I'm a trader. I don't invest, but I do know that, when I buy silver, I buy it when people are like saying that it sucks. That's when I buy.
Well, right now it's a good time to buy. I think it's down. So it's down.
It is. In fact, I was really considering it. Now that we're down at like $22, $23 an ounce, I haven't bought any for a while. And when it was at 27, I wasn't looking. But yeah, at 22, I am starting to look. I mean, I'd rather it be like 18. But if it's savings, then what difference does it make? It's about how many you have, not so much how much it's worth.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So, anything you want to add? Anything else you want to tell us? Anything? What do you got? What projects you got going on? Okay, let's get personal. All right, let's get some personal. Let's get a round of applause here. Let's get some personal with Uneducated Economist. All right. Favorite ice cream?
Okay, so favorite ice cream. We have
I take you for chocolate. I take you for a chocolate guy.
I do like chocolate, but what they have, and I don't really like the name of the ice cream because it's kind of funny sounding, but it's really good. And it's a Tillamook brand ice cream. It's called Malted Moo Shake. by
Woo.
far the best ice cream I've ever had.
Woo.
The only way I can describe it is old timey. If it tastes like something that you would expect from back in the day, kind of thing. Really good, very creamy taste, has little tiny chips of chocolate in it. It's awesome stuff. And it's not like vanilla, it's just like ice cream flavor. I don't know. It's just,
Okay.
yeah.
Favorite sport?
So, I haven't been into sports for a while, but when I was growing up, I loved baseball. My old man and I used to sit around and watch the Boston Red Sox all the
I
time.
took you
So
for a baseball guy.
I was a big fan of baseball, but yeah, I've kind of fallen out of sports over the last few years. I haven't really been paying much attention to any of that, but yeah, baseball was my game.
Yeah.
I used to.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get
I'm
personal.
sitting there with the old man cheering that on.
Longest job. What was your longest job?
So, yeah, the longest job is my current one right now. This is well, let's see. I started in 2012, so I'm going on 8 years. Before that was my first job that I had, which was 6 years, 8 months, and 22 days. I couldn't believe I actually remember the exact length of it, because that was the first lumber yard I worked for that shut down. And when they shut down, I went and found my job application in the file and saw what day I filled it out, because that was the day I was hired. And so, yeah.
Okay, long-term goal. What's your biggest long-term goal you're working towards? I know you set goals. What's your long-term?
I do set goals. My goals are more like guidelines than they are really goals. I found that I've tried to set up a lot of goals in the past, and I fail, and that happens. So it's not like it's not like never try, never fail. But like if it's some of my goals that I'm looking forward to, I now that I'm out of debt, because for those of you who I just recently within the last year have gotten out of debt. So, and I have nothing to show for my past debts or anything else. So I'm pretty much starting at scratch at 44. It would be nice to have some property. I would like to have chickens and ducks and goats and have my farm back. My wife had a really nice big garden. So that's kind of one of my dreams, and I'd like to do that in a time because I have a 6-year-old child right now, and it would be cool if the boys could be raised out on a little hobby farm or something like that. So that's one of my goals. If I was to have one, that would be it, and I would like to achieve that within the next few years if I could, while the kids are still young. The other goal, I guess, is to continue working on this channel. That's kind of a new one. I never really thought about trying to progress this channel into bigger avenues. I just pretty much do out my daily videos, try to keep them kind of consistent and the same. And but I'm thinking it would be nice if the Uneducated Economist maybe had a broader range to it. And so I've been kind of throwing that around, that I might try and work on a little bit more of bringing the Uneducated Economist up to a higher level.
You will. It'll take time. It'll take time.
It does.
For me,
and that's the thing. I want to be patient, and I don't want to ruin anything about the channel, because it's going so well that I don't want to mess with it.
Don't mess with it.
I just want to do what I do. But it would be nice if I was a little bit more active on say Patreon or Twitter, or maybe one of the other social media sites. I just found that I have such a hard time just trying to keep up with all the comments and the emails that I get just from YouTube, that trying to take on another social media is just I just don't have the time for it. Yeah. So it would be like a commitment of time is really what it would end up doing on that. And then other than that, it would be nice to achieve some sort of retirement goal. Try and I mean not really knowing a whole lot about financing, being a financial advisor. I understand a lot about money, but just like anybody, it's a guess, and you're trying to understand the trends, just like you're saying, just like you study all the time yourself. You're trying to understand the trends and then move in that kind of trend direction. But there's people out there who really understand how to take a monthly income and be able to save that in a way that generates, a decent return over time. Mm-hmm. Those things, there's good people out there who know how to do that really well. And I guess probably it would be a good idea to probably talk with one of those guys to set myself up, at least in that direction. I can always, take some of my money and try and put it towards the things that I think are smart, but really, if it's like for the whole family, doing something like that might be a wise way to go about things too. So anyway, that's my kind of goals: retirement, a house, and
American
YouTube.
dream.
Yep. That would be my goals. That would be my
Ask if he likes Oregon. Well, where is it? If he loves Oregon in spite of the political upheaval. That's from Mitch Madden. Mitch Madden is a local on our channel.
Okay.
And he's called in a few times on Mike in the Night to update us on the riots or the That's why my channel is pretty much below the radar still. And it probably will be to the day I die. But still, what do you think of Oregon?
Yeah. So what I think of, I love Oregon. I love people. I love the weirdness of everybody. I like the friendliness, like especially my community up here. We are a friendly group. Like, you talk to people here on the street, like them. Like they're, like you've known them for years. Everybody here is very cool and chill and awesome. So I love Oregon. As far as the political upheaval, I don't pay attention. I'm sorry. I don't. I mean, if it says anything that has to do with a protest up in Portland, if it has to do with, some kind of rioting or looting or picketing or demonstration or anything to do with that, I turn it off because I am not interested. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I spend so much time trying to research economics, and that stuff is so frustrating to watch. I mean, it is so like, it just occupies your mind. You look at these people with anger, and it's not like first, I don't think it's really healthy to even
It's
watch.
manufactured anger.
And besides, my gut hurts enough just studying the money. I don't want to look at those guys,
Yeah.
But that's my thing about it. So yes, I love Oregon. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else, and I love my community up here.
Yeah. Well, when this COVID thing gets wrapped up or something next summer, I'm gonna come down. I'm gonna go down probably to maybe Northern California somewhere. I'll stop in where you are, Astoria. I'll stop around that area. Maybe we can meet up for a coffee or something. And
yeah, man, that would be awesome.
If you ever come up to Canada, please come and check. I'm only a 7-hour drive from you, right? So,
so it seems so short, man. It doesn't seem very far.
No. If you have a good your car you could be here in 7 hours, and that's doing the speed limit. So
right.
Yeah. So
Sure.
I'd appreciate to hang out a bit. A lot of people passing through on their way to either stateside or to Vancouver to the coast where I am in the interior. They always stop at my store to see me. So
do they?
Yeah, I'm very accessible. So I get anywhere from 2 to 6 people a day visit me. And they come in and they want to take a selfie with me or stuff, and so we do reach people out there, believe it or not. We do.
That's pretty cool because a lot of people from the community are really starting to reach out and say, hey man, I live in Astoria, I've been watching you for quite a while, and so I didn't realize how big of a fan group I actually have here locally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other day I'm on the phone, I'm at work, I'm on the phone, I'm running my sale, and I hear this guy who's like, hey, hand this assignment. And I kind of look up from my my phone call, and I'm listening to the phone, and I see this guy, and I can't tell who it is because we got mask on. He's got his hat on, and I just really can't even imagine his face right now. And so he hands something over to the girl who was working the counter, and she goes over and puts it on my desk, and it's a $50 bill and an Eisenhower dollar, not a silver dollar, but just an Eisenhower dollar. And I thought, just out of the blue, just some guy just like, hey man, it's like giving me a thank you, giving me a tip. He just come by and just drop that off. I have customers now who out of the blue will ask me, it's just like, hey, what do you think about this, that, and the other thing? And I'm like, in the middle of my sale, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, and I'll kind of give them my opinion real quick, and they're like, okay, that's what I thought too. And they walk out like I have no idea who they were.
Yeah.
It's like, so that's a lot of fun. That's neat to see. I never really expected like that kind of thing to happen either, just kind of random people coming by and giving me thank yous and wanting to chat real quick about economics. I had another guy give me an economics book. He was like, hey, thought you might like this, and he just dropped one off for me, and I thought, man, these guys are really cool.
That's good. I'm
Yeah.
happy. I'm happy that you're getting the, how do you say, the positive return, the feedback, the people, that's what it's about. It's about the people, right? And
It really is, and that's what I found, like, I guess that's what I really love about my channel is that, like, I wasn't really trying to create a channel. I was trying to have a conversation with
Mhm.
people, and man, it took off. And that's what happened. And so it's just like awesome. I mean, I got what I wanted out of it. That's all I really asked for was to have a conversation. And yeah, it happened. You
Oh,
know.
that's
So,
good. That's good. Well,
yeah, it was a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Well, that's it. We've been talking for a friggin' hour here.
Have we?
An
Yeah,
hour
it
and
just seems
7
like a few
minutes, dude.
really. Wow.
An hour
Yeah, it
and
just
7
seems-
minutes. Yeah, I'm just looking at the comments here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Everybody's having a good time. That's good. I'm happy that you made the time to come out. I know you've been busy. I know you're busy and you got lots going on. And I really appreciate the time you spent with us here. And a lot of people are taking a lot away from this conversation, and hopefully they could kind of, I guess, brainstorm what to do next when it comes to setting a short or long-term goal. What are they forecasting for their futures, right? And that's all we have is each other right now, and it's a tough time right now we're going through, whether it's financially, whether it's economically, whether it is whatever it is that the people are dealing with inside themselves,
Absolutely, and I have to thank you, Mike. I mean, and really, I feel like you're the first one who reached out there and gave my videos a shout out, and brought me on that first interview. And it really feels like my channel took off after that. Like, it really feels like that was what got the momentum really rolling, was after that interview and that shout out you gave me.
But let me explain that to you. The reason, when I saw you, I said to myself, when I first saw you, I said to myself, holy crap, if more people knew that this guy existed, they would like this guy. And that's when I saw you. I'm like, oh, everybody will like this guy. This guy is so true to the word. Just cut to the answer. No Mickey Mousing. Just kind of looking at it from different angles. He's true. He's a real, true. He's not hiding anything. He's not, you know what I'm saying? And I said, if people only knew this, like heard this guy talking in some of his videos, they would love this guy. And that's it. It's growing. It's snowballing. It's growing. It's growing. Unfortunately, I'm on a deduction system off of YouTube. It's been like this for years for me, where if you bring me 1,000 subscribers, I'll lose 980 older subscribers I've had. And then,
yeah, I get a purging every so often. It's just like, I'm like, whoa, we're like, I sometimes I think it's something I did, because it starts off, it's like 3, 10, 20, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, where are all these people going? And then I realize it's some kind of purging taking place.
So I got people coming on Mike in the Night saying, this is the 13th time I've been unsubscribed to your channel, and I actually have to write down all my subscriptions down on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
like for the
and I've
channels.
noticed that too, that I'll be unsubscribed from some people every once in a while, and I was like, sometimes I think I did it accidentally. Like, did I actually?
No,
like,
you didn't do
unsubscribe?
nothing. No. YouTube's new algorithm
now
is
that
just.
I see it happening.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
advice
when I
to
see it
you.
happening, I realize it.
My advice to you
What's
is
that?
always keep your channel clean. Don't bring in politics, riots, and all that garbage. Keep it clean. If you wanna talk like that kind of stuff, just come on Mike in the Night. You won't get.
Okay.
I put up videos people send me on Skype about like lineups in this place, or a Black Friday video. I put that on my channel. That's fine. I'll take the heat off it. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't breaking any rules on YouTube. But they're really hitting me for specific videos that I think have an important message when it comes to affordability, when it comes to certain things. They're really kind of deleting. I got 2 videos deleted last night, and I have all these red marks on my page when you go to my analytics.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
And they're not
strange.
bad videos.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about it, like, I mean, I've seen some like terrible stuff on YouTube. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they pick on certain people. But I heard about some other YouTubers who are getting permanently banned. What was it? One of them was for talking Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're just like even people that talked about flat Earth for a while, they started getting really upset and shutting down channels. Or anybody that talked about certain things, or like, I don't believe in flat Earth, but I'm saying, like, I mean, if somebody wants to believe it, go ahead and do what you can. But still, realistically, it's just it's been a tough go for me. I've been doing this for my first channel got shut down. I reached, I think, 31,000 subs, and I got my subscription so fast, and that was in 2010. And I was talking about housing prices and blah, blah, blah. And then they deleted that channel. Then I took a
Like,
year
instead
off.
of deleted.
Gone.
Wow.
Then in 2014, I came back, and this is the channel I have now, and it's not going anywhere in a hurry. If I could live to be like 90, I'd probably be at 30,000 subs. If I could live to 90 years old, I'll be at 30,000. It's so bad. So every time I get 100 subs, I keep 9. So when you go to the analytics on my channel, are you ready for this? Do you know how many subscribers I've had from the beginning of this year till now? -3.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, they really want to discourage you, man.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I might stumble, but still won't lose. I ain't going anywhere, man. I ain't going anywhere, man.
You know, and I mean, at least, I can say at least you have that community. You got the ones who are following you, the ones who are faithfully, and that's the way I feel about my fans too. It's just like, if it wasn't for those guys who are consistently commenting, I look forward to their comments. It's almost like I feel like I got to do it for them, and if it wasn't for them, being dedicated to our channels, we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, so that's cool, man. I mean, I'm glad you had that kind of dedication to it when you.
That's all. It's about family for me. It's about loyalty, family, everyone hanging out together, being together. I that's what it's about here. And YouTube, same thing. It's all about that. It's about the loyalty, being with your people and like-minded folks. It's so nice to be in the same room with like-minded folks. You know what I mean? It's
absolutely it is.
So yeah. So that's that. I mean, yeah, it's been really good. And next week I got Mineko. So if you want to watch us, if you want to go back to the beginning of this transmission, maybe watch from the beginning, and you can see that $1.8 million house.
I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, and maybe you could make a video on that house. You'd be like, you could make 10 videos on that house, because it's so much to talk about. Like, how does the average person making $58,000 a year, average earner, not minimum wage, average earner, get into any property market in the Commonwealth? You're lucky. Americans have no idea how lucky they are. They are so lucky.
When I hear you talk, it's just like, I think we have it bad. Like, I look around and it's just like, man, this is tough, But when it's just like, this is like a cakewalk compared to what you guys are doing, And so, yeah, everybody's like, I guess it's just perspective on everything, I mean, so.
You guys are so lucky in America. I tried so hard to immigrate to America. I lived in Florida for a few years, and I did all the paperwork. And when I went to the interview, they said, well, we're not looking for your kind right now. So they told me to apply in 5 years. So it was like, okay, never mind. I'm not going to bother. So,
okay.
Yeah, I paid a lawyer a lot of money. I got a company to sponsor me. I did everything. I did everything by the book. I was making sure we were running ads in different areas to make sure I wasn't stealing an American's job. I did everything by the book. And it took years. It took like 5 years. And I went to the interview. Unfortunately, we're not taking in your kind right now. It's like, okay. So that was a lot of wasted money and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, what a bummer.
That's okay. Yeah. All right. Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Lots of love,
Great.
Lots of support, and lots of good graces. And you will get your farm, you'll get your land, you'll get everything you want. Eye on the prize, stay in the light, keep your target inside, and don't listen to the fools on the run, okay?
All right, man.
You have a good night. God bless you, okay?
Thank you for everything. Yeah, God bless you too.
Thank you. Guys, that is Uneducated Economist. Man, I love that. I like him so much. He is very straightforward, and I am so happy for him. And his everything will happen. Everything that you want in life. Keep your eye on the prize. Stay in the light. Keep your target inside. I hope everyone had a good. Brother John says, Mike Martins, yeah, you do complain too much about YouTube. I've never been unsubbed by YouTube. You probably got complaints from people from Australian housing markets. Just do your thing. Bring awareness. Yeah, that's what it is about. I don't care. You know what the funny part is? I could have 3 subscribers on this channel and I'll still get people on my live streams and stuff. I don't even care about what the algorithm thinks anymore. I don't care anymore what the algorithm feels. They think they know, and yeah, it is what it is. But yeah. The Raven saying, thank you, Simon. Great interview. Boom, bubble, bust, repeat. Here is your goat. Woo! Thanks, Simon. I watch you often, says Mitch Madden down in, I like Mitch Madden too. He's such a good guy. Tig Nim says, eyes on Christ all the time, my friend. Simon says I don't know if Ayatollah want a rock and roller. Woo! Anna Key says, yeah, Simon, great call. UE, Uneducated Economist. Great caller, dude. Mike Banks says, oh, yeah, we're going to get all kinds. I'm going to see if I can get Robert Downey Jr. on the show on Mike in the Night to get his political. Guys, I want to tell you something. I emailed Ric Flair. I got his email, long story, to come and tell us his political thing. He actually emailed me back, and it wasn't an auto-response email. He said he's going to think about it. And it'd be nice to get like a figure like Ric Flair on Mike in the Night to woo. And he's very on the ball when it comes to a lot of things that are happening. I've been watching him on his YouTube channel and some of the things he talks about. He's really on the ball when it comes to things, you know? Ben Savage says, Uneducated Economist is great. Someone give this man a mahogany 2x4. Thank you so much. You're pleasured, Mike. Lord, and then Raven says, Lord, did you hook up the Maneko 64 interview? Yes, he did. He always reaches out. Lord Humongous does a lot for the channel, by the way, on the back end of the channel. He does a lot of work on the back end for me, where he does contact people. Somebody else was also trying to set me up with another YouTuber to come on my channel, and the person that messaged the YouTuber got blocked by the YouTuber and basically said, I don't want nothing to do with this guy, type of thing. So that's okay too. I don't want you guys getting in trouble with other YouTubers too if you go out there and you know what I'm saying. So guys, let's go to article scan. Guys, don't forget Maneko 64 Super Mario coming on this Saturday on Mike in the Night. He's going to be our second guest. We're going to get, hopefully, we could get first on the show to start maybe talking a bit. Obviously, Supreme Cannon will come on, give his spiel about, maybe we won't talk about money. Maybe we'll talk about lockdowns or something. We'll find something to talk about with Supreme Cannon. He's not that hard to. Then we'll talk about economy with Maneko 64 Gold and consumption over production. This is a big problem we're having right now in our economies. And I got some good hard-hitting questions to ask him from some of the videos he's posted lately. So there's the Maneko 64. If you guys, please, if you can respectfully, go ahead and set your reminders to this. Okay, let's go here. This is Maneko 64, if you guys don't mind setting your reminder for this. So I like this guy. He's a really nice guy. What else? Guys, here's my Instagram. I got 1,000 people follow me on this. In 2 months, I'll have more people on my Instagram than my YouTube. And it'd be like, Mike, we all subscribe to you on YouTube. Brother John sent me $5. Like you, Mike. First saw Simon on your show. Thought the Uneducated Economist should be big. He's a good guy. Deserves his dreams to come true. Great show. Have a coffee. Thank you, Brother John. Of course, he's a very beautiful person. Good soul. Very clean. You know, very clean back. You know, like... He's not carrying hatred with him. He's not carrying debt. He's debt free. Let's get a round of applause for that. He is debt free. He's doing well. He's not carrying too much baggage. You know, he's gonna do well. He's in the right country to do well. So. Yeah, Mitch Bannon said, Mario's one of the guys I follow. He has educated me, very down to earth and straight shooter. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's been over 2 hours. I'm over, but it was worth it, guys, being with you guys. And yeah, JP Morgan, Lord Humongous still is going to go with a selfie hidden pin camera to JP Morgan. He said he was going to do it just to say hi to them, see what's going on. Yeah, their ship got busted with China White. Yeah, we're not going to go into that tonight. Yeah, banks are helping the cartels. That's correct. Yeah. We're not going to I don't want to get this show to be flagged. So, Uneducated Economist did a good job tonight. So, I don't want to get this show flagged tonight. So, anyways, guys, trends in the housing market, wrapping it up, guys. Remember, take care. And let me get full screen on this, guys. Take care. And if you can't take care, please stay safe. And we'll see you for Mike in the Night. Don't forget to set your reminders for Mike in the Night next week. God bless everyone. Thank you to our guests. And we will see you soon.